The Swiss Garden Story.
Once upon a time.
Georgian Britain. George I, George II, George III, more on George IV later. A time of
Grand tours.
wealthy eyes are open to ancient cultures, art, scenery, history,
Great parks and gardens.
Lancelot Capability Brown. Humphrey Repton. Successor to Brown. Prolific landscape designer.
Obsession with the picturesque.
William Gilpin. Artist, writer, tourist, champion of beauty in the British countryside. Always in search of the picturesque.
Picturesque, a term expressive of that peculiar kind of beauty which is agreeable in a picture.
Gilpin's obsession makes him an object of ridicule. But his writings are not without influence for garden and landscape design.
Controversy!
In the classical beauty corner, Lancelot Capability Brown. In the picturesque beauty corner, landscape theorist Richard Payne Knight.
Your work is a feeble imitation of wild nature, sir. Your visions are bare and bald.
That's fighting talk from the new challenger, and who's this wading in? Oofdale Price?
Your smooth and serpentine curves are bland, sir.
And the winner is the picturesque.
Cue the Regency period.
A time of aristocracy, decadence, dalliance, posh furniture, fancy fashion, petticoats and paintbrushes. Oh, and Jane Austen.
Enter the aristocrat in our own story, looking to make his mark.
A young Lord Robert Henley Ongley, 3rd Baron of the Old Warden Estate.
First, a village of vision.
A dose of picturesque rustic charm. Locals in tall hats and red cloaks. In the Swiss style. Quite the height of fashion, don't you know?
Next, a private pleasure ground to impress and entertain.
Promenading, picnicking, painting. A little slice of Switzerland, perhaps. Not rugged peaks, but rolling foothills, lakes, streams, and rustic thatched chalets. Evergreen trees and shrubs for structure. A series of garden rooms, each with perfectly framed views, unique decor and ornate furnishings. Surprise and delight at every turn. Bridges, shelters, island destinations, dandy ornaments and statues. Dancing reflections, exotic plants, fragrant rose bowers, hidden grottos, an aviary complete with eagles, and other interesting fowl.
Phew, this won't be cheap. It isn't.
Lord Ongley's extravagant spending has left him heavily in debt, forcing him to sell up and move out.
Enter Joseph Shuttleworth.
A new breed of landowner. A wealthy industrialist. A Victorian.
Time for some improvements.
A new Jacobean-style mansion in place of the old. A well-run and profitable estate with the latest technology and land management practices. And the garden? Some fashionable cosmetic improvements. A large dose of artificial stonework called Pulamite. The Punt Harbour. The Pond Cascade. The Eagle Redoubt. The Rock Garden. A raised terraced walkway. A new summer house. A bit of rethatching and some tweaks to the Swiss cottage. A few specimen trees and shrubs. A new porch and a tidy-up for the grotto and fernery. and the latest in underfloor heating. A fancy iron bridge for the pond cascade. A Clayton and Shuttleworth creation, of course. New stonework for the underpass.
An original vision sympathetically enhanced.
Happy memories and occasions. For successive Shuttleworth generations and their guests.
And now, restoration!
The original vision lovingly restored, ensuring many more happy memories and occasions for you and for future generations.
But that's another story.